The show has begun with Connor and Dom. It's the Decon Chamber.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Trekkies and Trekkers, welcome back to another episode of the Decon Chamber. I am with, as always, my best friend and co-defendant, Dominic Keating. We are doing a watch party today of the episode Oasis. Number 19?
Episode 20.
Episode 20.
In the first season.
Written by Stephen Beck and directed by Jim Charleston, both of which I don't really recall.
Don't recall either of them. I mean, it's awful to say that, but
no, but I mean, I don't know that we ever had Jim
that
again.
first season, we really weren't sort of, involved in that area of the studio.
Yeah.
And
we also thought that, like, a director showed up, they'd show up again. Now maybe Jim did, but I don't recall him again.
I don't recall. No.
And I'll be honest, I think that he directed a very fine episode. This episode is interesting and heavy because, one, it deals with ghosts and someone who is trying to keep alive the people that he cares about. And in reality, the two leads in this, René Auberjonois and Annie Wersching, have passed. And, I watched this episode with, a sense of sadness. And the episode itself also lends itself to that element of sadness.
It is. It's quite sobering to think that those two people have gone, and particularly Annie, who was far too young.
It was her first job.
That's right. It was her first job, and then she went on to have great success on
a great career.
And she played the Borg Queen in Picard, for crying out loud.
She was in Vampire Diaries. She was in Bosch. She was in 24. She had so many significant roles, and she passed away a couple of years ago, I believe at 45, due to cancer.
Yeah. We saw her last, didn't we, when we were in Philadelphia?
We saw her in Chicago.
Tell a lie. Chicago it was.
Yeah, she had just finished playing the Borg Queen and had sort of entered the Star Trek family of going to conventions and most likely probably already sick and left three boys and a husband. And René also had an extraordinary career, one that we could all only hope for.
Yeah.
And René sadly passed probably 4 or 5 years ago.
It's sobering. Knock wood, darling.
Not only that, but then to have this be the episode.
I know. Yeah, it's somewhat I don't know. I don't know what the word is. It's eerily synchronistic and
fatal. And the episode itself, Take Us Away From It, reminded me of that Bruce Dern sci-fi movie Silent Running, where he keeps these robots alive and he tends a garden.
Yeah.
And there must have been some inspiration for this episode from that film. And in the end, Bruce Dern's character has to let Huey, Dewey, and Louie go.
Yeah. And there was a nice refrain of the ghost story. Do you remember the episode that you all went to when you went down to the Bronson Caves and
with the campfire,
Travis was telling ghost stories. It had a nice sort of refrain there that I noticed. And what else was notable in the casting? Tom Bergeron, who plays Alien at the beginning.
Hell, Joran. The warlords on Prinos use it to test their courage.
At first, I was like, I know him. Who is that?
He's apparently a huge Star Trek fan, so he sort of, fought to get a part as an alien on one of our shows, and there he is. playing
He
the
did a
spice.
couple of episodes.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
went on to have massive success with hosting Dancing with the Stars, America's Funniest Videos, Hollywood Squares.
It was the whole opening scene of this episode called Oasis. I play Damar, a trader of exotic goods, and it's set in the captain's mess on the Enterprise, and it's a dinner scene with me and Scott and Jolene Blaylock, Connor Trinneer, and they put me in 4.5 hours worth of makeup, and I could not have been happier.
It was very well directed.
Yes.
That's something I noted. He got some beautiful shots of T'Pol through those light shafts where they were where the technology was that was creating these holograms, and yeah, it was nicely done. Sadly, Brannon said in 2012 that this was one of the most horrible episodes that we ever did.
I disagree.
I would disagree too. I mean,
I think this is one of the better episodes that we did, at least in the first half of the first season,
Yeah.
because it literally echoes the ethos that what Star Trek is entirely about.
yeah, because it was. I thought the way there was obviously an element of secrecy and foreboding right from the minute of meeting them all, and us piecing it together that something's not quite right with their telling of their story.
Whoever attacked them has to be gone by now. Why are they still hiding?
Not least that the hydroponic garden wasn't enough to feed 50 of them, let
Right.
alone the pair that were actually living.
There's also their aeroponics bay.
What about it? It's not big enough to feed all the people on that ship, sir. Not by a long shot.
And as we walk into it, to me, I really thought, I was like, is this a Halloween episode?
Or if you see any signs of the crew. I can't.
All right,
I really did.
it might.
You walk in with the teaser, and it's immediately about ghosts.
So we're floating around. We've met this alien. We have the teaser is the dinner scene where
He's a marauder. He's out
a
there.
he's a wheeler dealer,
Yeah.
and he gives note of this ship that he knows has crashed on a nearby planet.
Found what? A ship crashed on one of the inner planets. There were no life signs aboard, so I landed to claim my rights of salvage.
But there are no vital signs that we can seem to detect. And yet when we get down there, there's a host of them, seemingly walking and talking, humanoid species, the Kantari. I noticed that did I wear that nifty away jacket with the padded? It was a very nifty jacket. Did you
That's
did
one
you
of the
get one
things
of
that I
those?
stole. That's one of
Is
the
that
things.
one of the ones you got?
I have mine.
Oh, I want to see that. I noticed there's a lovely bit. T'Pol is super jealous of you mixing up with Liana.
I know.
Annie Wersching's coach said, the last time you found an engineer this competent, you came back as her baby daddy.
She's very competent.
So was the female engineer on the Zerillion ship.
You're never gonna let that go, are you?
I'm simply noting that the last time you found someone this competent, you wound up carrying her child.
Or was it her baby mommy? Yeah, it's rather amusing that. I love that bit.
I also thought it was interesting when in Act 1, after we go out of the intro, T'Pol is addressed by Trip, are you frightened?
But don't you get frightened every once in a while?
No.
Not by anything.
No.
And I think that because that's not true. They do get frightened.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're affected by things. And so I just thought that was kind of an interesting dynamism about that. She just says no. And the reality is, as we find out later in the series, that all of these things occur. I wish I knew more about the Vulcan soul in a way,
Right.
because what we wind up finding out is pretty much what they tell us.
Yes. Right.
They're as fallible as we are.
They are. They just learned to sort of, and I think they were more fallible than we were in our infancy as a species. They were obviously much more pugnacious and warlike, and but they've managed to sort of, find a mechanism to sort of put a handle on that and take it out of the equation. But it's yeah, I think they're still susceptible
Yeah, and I,
to
and I like
what you
how
call emotion.
Trip, he did this a lot, sort of like teased her out of her moments like that.
Mm,
And I think it probably was an element of of their initial relationship. And like you said earlier, like she was clearly jealous that
yeah, it's rather amusing.
you know,
There's some lovely close-ups, Joe, in the early moments of this show, and when she's not saying anything but just figuring stuff out, looking at a screen, figuring out, who's on the planet, and there were just flickers of the eye and cognizant moments in her face that was like, yeah, that's good acting.
yeah.
Because we always know that that's the trickiest acting there is, when you're just acting in a bubble and
And
doing.
being present without lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And making it all up in your head. I mean,
Right.
one's always goes back to Roger Rabbit with what's that London actor passed away?
Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins.
I don't. You do. I don't. You do. I don't. You don't. I do.
That must. I mean, there's a tour de force. I mean, in the early days of shooting a film like that, when it really was, nuts and bolts and tennis balls on C stands and.
Yeah.
You were acting in a complete your own imagination,
Right.
which I find always quite remarkable.
It was a very keen example, which we did a lot in the first season of flashlight acting.
Yes, you did. You had a lovely moment with your flashlight. Did you? I noticed that. Ooh, as he plays the ghost. But yes, some lovely pinpointing of Jolene, and yeah, Marvin had us really working overtime. That was our DP, lighting scenes with flashlights.
Yeah.
But we start to sort of, detect the inconsistencies when Liana tours the Enterprise with you.
83,
All humans?
mostly. You met DePaul, she's Vulcan, and Dr. Phlox is from a planet called the Nobula.
Honestly, you're like a sort of puppy dog in those scenes, and cute. It's a meet cute.
Yeah.
Is what it is. I love the fact that she doesn't know what dogs are.
And there's Porthos, Captain Archer's dog.
Dog?
Well, I guess you don't have a word for that.
Funny, I was thinking about this today, and we get asked this all the time. It was asked of us in Vegas, where we just were this last weekend for a convention. And so how much of you were in your characters? And the relationship in this episode is exactly me. It's exactly how I would do something. I come from a small town. I come from very strong, loving parents. I think that I have respect for any situation that I'm in. And I watched this episode and I thought to myself, yeah, that's how you would do it. So because really, anybody could be given these lines and operate them in 1,000 different ways. And I guess for our audience, for you, how he operated within this, I don't know, puppy dog,
Yeah.
experience is exactly how I would have done it.
All right. I might take this moment to just say, when we were at the convention in Las Vegas, many people came up to the table to say how much they loved this show and what we've been doing over the last couple of years, and actually even longer with a previous incarnation of it. And I'm usually the first one to ask, well, are you a Patreon member? And invariably, a lot of the times the answer came back, yeah, not yet. And I'm going to half make it known here now. If you are watching this show, please, and you love it, and you say you love it, please support this show. It costs money to make, and we don't
have
get
to,
any
we
funding.
have to, we're looking to survive.
We're looking to survive. Connor and I are doing this literally for no money. I mean, seriously. And we need money to edit. We need money to do the social media, and all these bills add up. And if we do go in the studio, we need quite a lot of money for the big ticket guests. So please, if you've got it in your heart and you know you have it in your pocketbook, if you know in your heart you've got the $5-10 a month, and there's now a donate button on the website. So if you just want to bung us $20-50 when you feel like you've got it to give, please do that too. We're not doing this to make a fortune, guys and dolls. We're just not. We're doing this.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave the rest. Connor's going to tell you why we're doing this.
and to our audience, I just want to say this to you as well. We love doing this.
We do.
And we've done it for quite some time, and we've determined that what we want to do is to have our commentary on all of our episodes be an addendum and an aside, and together with our show. No one else is doing this. It's just Tom and I talking about the show.
Posterity.
For posterity. And I think that there's absolute value in that. And to be honest, I'm quite proud of the idea that that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Having said that, we need help to finish this.
We do.
We need help to finish this. And
step up.
Yeah, and if you like this, and I think this is this truly is an element of posterity for the two of us to be able to talk about our show and to be able to share this with our audience and for this to live forever.
Yeah.
But we need your help to make that happen.
Yeah. So this is a worthy cause, ladies and gents, and we really hope you consider that. Anyway, it's during that tour that, you know, the math doesn't add up, that our senses. I quite like what I did here and there, just the sort of logistics of, you know, figuring out, you know, what this is. There's a lovely
This isn't possible, Captain. You're basically saying this isn't possible.
Yeah, in the ready room. It's nice. It was at the Situation Room at the back. That was the Situation Room. Yeah, I liked some of that. Wasn't much to do, but it was just sort of nice sleuthing, and you know, just pushing the story or the inconsistency of their story forward.
Hershey translated the data module we found on their ship. We were able to reconstruct what happened right before they crashed.
You know, they say they crashed and have been living like this for 3 years, but actually, you know, all the data from our sensors show that this vessel crashed 22 years ago.
It went down nearly 22 years ago, Tret.
That doesn't make any sense.
Check the scans yourself.
And then we find that there are escape pods floating around in the nearby stratosphere of said planet, and we rescue one of them, and lo and behold, that's a nice moment where Phlox comes in and says, you know, this is going to be a sarcophagus.
This is obviously someone's final resting place. What do you expect to accomplish by opening it?
You know, is this something we want to do? Open up someone's resting place? And we do.
Yep.
And it's this character Shalat, who you just saw down on the planet in the vessel, as large as life as you like, and there he is, mummified in said escape pod. So what is going on?
And I kind of I really appreciate we didn't just go along with it. Well, we did go along with it to see where it ended up. I think that we knew the reality of it before the reality got played as members of the ship. We had an idea. There were no life signs. And clearly,
yes, they that's right. They sort of neatly packaged that up with, they had some shielding around the inner sanctum of the ship where they lived.
Why didn't any of this show up on sensors?
There appears to be a dampening field in this section of the ship.
And they also, it's very important for them to get the who's a what's it thingy working properly, because as we find later that is basically
that's generating the holograms.
Generating their beings.
Yeah. And so we get to about Act 3, and you confront Liana about how long they've been there, and she desperately avoids your questions.
How long have you been on this planet?
Captain Kalam told you.
I want you to tell me.
Why?
Because our scans show your ship crashed 22 years ago.
Your scans must be wrong.
But in the meantime, T'Pol is captured while still down on the planet in the vessel.
Where's T'Pol? Don't worry about her. I'm gonna need her help. You could do it on your own.
Yeah, and then the cavalry arrive.
Yeah.
And there's a good shootout, and I get shot right in the back.
Holding aces and eights.
Yeah. And I guess it's then, after I get shot, that's the final straw. And she finally reveals... Does she reveal to you that they're all holograms?
Renee's the one who details it.
They were holograms.
They were our friends, our family, for over 20 years.
He's so good, isn't he? There's just experienced, seasoned acting. You know, he has several speeches that are quite long. He never takes a breath. He just delivers, and quite sort of intricate thoughts that lead into other intricate thoughts. And I just noticed that the wonderful rhythm he creates, he's just got a great sense of that.
Yes.
Instinctual.
Yeah, I don't know how well you knew René. I mean, I
quite
knew
well.
him
We
very well. I didn't know him very well.
We did a couple of those back-to-back ones down in Australia and New Zealand, and I got to know him and his wife quite well. We became quite close on over a sort of 2.5 week period, and yeah, he was a lovely chap.
Lovely guy. I mean, remarkable too. I believe that René lived his life as an artist. You could sit at dinner with him, and he would recite Under Milkwood.
Yeah,
he would. He was of a particular generation. He's actually royalty
in Switzerland.
His mother.
He's Swiss, isn't he? Or was Swiss.
His mother was Princess Laura Louise Napoleon Eugenie Caroline Murat.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that explains the eyes being quite close together.
And the blood never coagulating.
I didn't know that. But he was of Swiss heritage, I'm pretty sure.
I think he was Franco-Swiss, who was, oh yes, and Ferdinand Auberjonois, his father was Swiss-born.
Right.
Sometimes you're blessed by the opportunity to know someone, however well you know them.
Mm.
And I always felt like René was one of those guys. I mean,
absolutely.
As a kid, I watched him on Benson, and we were in New Jersey at a convention, and this is just around the time that they're making like weed gummies and weed,
lollipops,
Jolly Ranchers, and the two of us, I believe, was it two of us? I think it was, and we're about to go on stage. I'll take a break here because the week before, somebody had given me like half of a Jolly Rancher gummy, and I had to go to bed. And so we walk up to René and say hi, and he's just working a grape Jolly Rancher gummy. And he was like, I got to go on stage in like 5 seconds. And I'm like, oh my God, well, good luck, René. And he was fine. He
always had a lollipop in his mouth or something.
He did.
Yeah. Bless him. Yeah, he certainly liked to partake a bit. God bless. his big break came, of course, in McCabe and Mrs. Miller. And yeah, that was René's big sort of breakout role. I mean, you never look back from that one.
Yeah, he played a rat, and he looked like
playing the sort of, exactly the town rat.
Yeah.
And that film is famous for the last, I think it might be last 8 to 10 minutes, and there is no music. There's just the soundtrack of the gunfight and running around that snow. They just use the muffled sound of the snow. Snowed in, Western, whatever you want to call it, town, barely. And it was a terrific film, but that was what kicked him off. So she's captured. I come down. The cavalry arrive. I get shot. So yeah, so that all comes out in the wash that she deactivates the holograms as they're surrounding us, and
we do it together. We do it together.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's rather poignant moment. And then René, embarks on the story of what actually really happened. That there was an iron storm, they had a hull breach, and he left his post as the captain of that vessel because he knew his daughter was in the bowels of the ship, and that it was very unlikely that she would survive the impending crash, and everyone died bar him and his daughter.
It was my decision. She was in our quarters on the lowest deck. I knew she'd never survive a crash landing down there, so I went to get her.
Any father would have done the same thing.
I left my station.
It's it's very moving, actually. And he's been, what's the word? Troubled and, crossed by that ever since. And so he decides to with his, expertise in this field of science, he decides to recreate the crew.
So I decided to bring them back. Her mother first, then Captain Kulan, and the others. I did everything I could to make it like it was for her.
And so she has no real understanding that these people, for a long time, are not actually people. They're holograms.
I will say this about that bit of it. So if you could punch one of them and get punched by one of them, but when you shot them, you went right through them.
Well, that was it. It was quite odd. They could walk through walls.
Yeah.
And you could phaser them and it would go straight through them.
Certain amount of convenience.
But you could get knocked out by one of them, and they could hold guns, which were real. I mean, look,
they could kiss you and they could touch you. But in terms of when I was like, I raised a red flag when Archer or you tries to shoot one, it goes right through them, and I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a goddamn minute. Yeah, so that he creates these holograms so that Liana wouldn't grow up alone, and it's Trip who makes the argument that all good intentions, but surely wouldn't you want more for your daughter's life than to be hanging out with a bunch of holographic ghosts,
right?
When you have the capacity, particularly now that we've arrived on the scene, to excavate and
get you home.
Take you home.
Maybe it's time I stop being so afraid of change. Will you help me take my daughter home?
And his argument's an odd one, isn't it? That this is his home, and that he's become so accustomed to it.
Well, it's Dr. Frankenstein, isn't it? I mean,
right.
You're somewhat creating your environment for yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Apparently, I found the argument to be, and you see these stories and read these stories and see these films about almost one caring too much
Mm.
in a way that you wind up
Yeah.
overprotecting and
Yeah.
then creating an
Making the wrong
environment
decisions.
that just doesn't exist. That's
Yeah.
not real and proper, and it's actually hurtful and harmful to
Right.
the person you're trying to help.
Right. Right. Some trivia associated with the episode. Apparently, this is quite a similar episode to the Deep Space Nine one, Shadow Play.
My mother's never coming back, is she?
Why do you say that?
It's what my grandfather told me.
And an episode in Discovery called Sukal, I think it's called. Yeah, references Travis's ghost stories from Strange New World.
This isn't turning into one of your famous ghost stories, is it? Would make a good one, sir.
And your romance from Unexpected.
You find me attractive.
You like having people find you attractive.
And I've touched on the fact that Brandon called this a terrible episode in 2012, which is a little unkind.
I didn't think that. Look, there are some episodes that just sort of like fall flat. And maybe because I'm more sensitive to the fact that I never took notes before. I'm taking notes on the intro and all the acts.
Yeah.
And believe me, I know there are clunkers, but I don't feel as
This
though
was by far by no means our biggest clunker.
No. And in fact, as I said before, I think it sort of echoes Gene Roddenberry's message. I think this is one of the times that I found myself as the actor a little concerned about the character I was playing, his influence on scenarios, and not having to have any addressing of that.
Right.
So Trip gets involved in this, and there's this young woman's life in balance, and what that means, and we're just gonna fly off at the end of the episode.
I know there's that the ending is it's somewhat laughable, isn't it?
Maybe I'll see you out there.
I'd like that.
I guess I'll see you around.
It is kind of like, but I did think it was really cute. I did think it was gentle.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, look, it's a TV show. It's not like real life, as it were. So what better way to end it with a kiss on the lips and
See you around the block.
In other circumstances, we would be together, but I'm on a 5-year mission and you're not.
I will say that, I remember because I spent a lot of time that week with Annie, and she was so young and so new to the business, and had
It's
just
her first job, right? Is that right? We said, yeah. Her first job.
She's from St. Louis, as well as Scott is, and I remember talking to her, and she was at that time she seemed like a relatively fragile person. I mean, she had moved into her apartment in Koreatown. It had been robbed the week before.
Oh.
And
not when she was in it. She moved into
she wasn't there, but it was
previously robbed apartment.
Yeah. And and she was a little raw to the newness of the whole thing, and
they gave her a great wig.
Really was right. Are there great wigs? Can you say
where did they find that wig from?
Can you name a great wig?
I mean, no, admittedly, Jolene's first wig was pretty,
We have been watching Texas Hunting Wives, which is it's great fun.
Is it a reality show?
No, you'd think it would be, and it should be, but it's Malin Ackerman, Dermot Mulroney. It's on Netflix.
Oh, I saw it. Yes, advertised. Yeah,
it's just fun.
Okay,
but Malin Ackerman has the worst wig, and I can't think of a time when somebody had what a great wig that is.
Oh, I'm sure there must be some. I mean, there are some wig masters that, but on our show they were pulling them out of the back of the cupboard from 3 shows ago.
By the way, the only Emmy our show ever won,
Hair and makeup.
first season.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Well.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't my hair.
No, nor
It wasn't
mine.
easy.
But
Yeah.
nonetheless, Annie was just such a sort of classic newbie in the business, and very seemingly sensitive. Like that's why she got the part. She was who she was. Annie went on to do so much with 24 and Bosch and Vampire Diaries and really and the Borg Queen in was it Picard?
Yeah.
Yeah. A real loss to especially our family.
Yeah. She was 45.
45.
Terribly sad. Oh, I'll tell you one thing I noticed. The extracurriculum use of the warp elevator. That clunky elevator up and down.
Oh, in engineering?
4 legs, big ears, kind of cute.
What does he do?
Not much. He's the captain's pet.
We barely never used it, and it was a bit because that was 2 strong lads. I forget their names now. Do you remember what were their names? Those grip guys who
I don't remember.
Oh, I can't remember. Damn, I can
Who
see
was
him
the main
now
one
with
who opened and
with
shut the
big
doors?
cash. Huh?
Who was the main one who opened and shut the doors? The old fellow.
Yeah, who'd been there 17 years. Terrible when you can't remember now. He was such fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one it was basically 2 strong guys holding you up with some weights, I'm sure, levering you up and down. That was it. And yeah, that first that first descent was like
I'm wondering, I've noticed this. I haven't really thought about this until now that we're revisiting these episodes. But for like say Trip's character in particular, um, a sad sack in love.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single character that has a satisfying relationship. Granted, we're on a spaceship, fine. But I can't think of a single character in all of Star Trek where there is a relationship that is fulfilling to anyone.
Do Worf and Dax have something of it before they had to kill her? I mean that.
Well, point made.
Rest my case.
Yeah,
but that was contractual. That was a contractual killing.
In all honesty, I mean, I get why, in particular, like our show is thought of as somewhat like a boys' club, because there's really no 3-dimensional life being lived on our ship, at least on our ship.
No, I always regretted that. I thought our show was going to be that I've said it before, that we were going to be the ER in space show, so that all the storylines would be amongst the crew members, of which we were the 7 regulars, and that would be the thrust of the show. But as it quickly turned out, that was not what they had in mind, and we were I know it, we know it pissed off Anthony, and it used to get to me sometimes that these guest stars would come on and have pages of dialogue, great scenes with everyone but me, and I'd be like, well, what did you cast me for? I mean, just to say yay sir, no sir, the photon torpedoes halfway done, sir. I mean, there were swaths of time where I was like, you're wasting good talent sitting right here, and you're paying them a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, really,
not enough, I might add, but quite a lot.
What it comes down to is that the ship was number 1 on the call sheet, and everybody else was 2 through 9. But also, I've begun to think about this. the want and loss of all of the characters in Star Trek is significant. Nobody ever wins in terms of, a relationship. And I guess I'll circle that back to, because the relationship is with you and a ship.
All right. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's odd that, Malcolm's farewell speech in Shuttlepod 1 is exactly that, none of these relationships worked out, but my relationship with the crew members of the Enterprise, I was just becoming close to. And yeah, it's quite telling, that, actually.
It is. And I then you get the need for Nana to write Women in Trek. Then you get the need for people to express how they feel about the lack of dimension in our characters. And I'm curious about this because, the show went for, I don't know, 100,000 straight years before it stopped for a minute. And these sorts of things weren't even addressed. And to the point where in this episode, T'Pol says to Trip, really, again, you.
Yeah.
But there's something telling about that. I think that there's something.
Well, is it avoidance? I mean, are they avoiding dealing with something like that?
That's a good question. I don't actually
They
have
just
the
don't feel
answer.
comfortable writing that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that when you get a lot of boys and men together figuring out things, they may leave other parts out of it. And so Jerry Taylor being an executive producer, huge part of Voyager, you can sort of follow the track on that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and I think that there's, validity to and value in having those kinds of conversations, and bless them now for writing that book that was, it's a tome. It stands alongside, I guess, some of the best Star Trek novels out there, books out there. And look, if we're talking about a new world in the future where there's no wars and we're
people say
live long and prosper and we're doing the best that we can as humanity, I feel as though the representation is a little bit slim, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think
I'm never getting hired again by Paramount, by the way.
No. I was letting you dig your own grave there, love. But no, you've got a point. It wasn't fair that they felt comfortable dealing with, and knowing the people that we now know them as, and the era that we were on in, and that just wasn't. Yeah, it wouldn't have flown well in the writers' room, with one or two people in charge, particularly. I don't think.
But I mean, we came off the heels of a show that had a female captain and a female lead 7 years. And I don't know, is that the pendulum ball swinging back to stasis?
Well, given that we were the prequel and now that's a very different kettle of fish than Voyager and a female captain 200 years in the future or whatever it might be. And so maybe, that it was, had a more masculine aspect to it.
And we can also Monday morning quarterback this to death. I mean, look, if you have an issue with anything anybody ever did on a show, make your own.
Yeah, right.
Tell your own story. We are a cast of characters that came together to tell a story. There were other casts of characters also to tell that story. But look, in the pantheon of Star Trek, I think it's worth a conversation, worth addressing, worth looking at. And it's one of the great opportunities that we get in this community where people really think about this stuff.
All right. All right. Well, I think we've covered pretty much all the the relevant points. Can you think of anything else you'd like to say? Short episode.
I have one question about this. So they have technology for holograms, and we don't at the time, and we don't even address it.
Right. I hadn't thought about that.
Curious.
Yeah, well, that might have been the constraints of, 36 minutes in an hour.
Well, sure.
But there's always those constraints to consider.
But if you throw it out there,
we have time for a scene where you explain to us how you do that. When the audience already knows about holograms, and like, you don't need to explain, who are you explaining it to? Captain the
Well, I understand that, but for us to not even address holograms for our own
How'd you
self.
do that? That must be fun.
Wait a minute, you have a person in this thing?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But you don't have dogs?
Yeah, your dogs.
Yeah. That's true. It wasn't touched on at all. Yeah, who knows? All right, well, we have covered Oasis. I think pretty good episode, and certainly not worth the slander that Brannon gave it. He was a tough judge of most episodes. Apparently every episode that any writer ever gave him as a final draft, he just went through with a red pen. Yeah, literally. There wasn't one, I don't think. And I wonder about that. I mean, when you've got such a one-man control over the entirety of a show, I guess it's vision. But sometimes you can, especially when you've done it for 16 years, you can't see the wood for the trees. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is something about, what is the term? Absolute control, what is it? Controls absolutely. No, but yeah, you can be too close to something.
Yeah.
I think by the end, by the time they got to us, there was something about like, how do we strip off the label of a Voyager or Deep Space Nine or Next Generation episode and slap on an Enterprise one. And I think that probably occurred later on in seasons. I think that initially, episodes like this, there's always going to be a similarity. I mean, God, if you make 1,000 episodes of something, you're going to be dipping back into that cup.
Oh, crikey. I mean, I always refer to, will Dexter get away with it this week?
Exactly.
I wonder.
Right.
But I guess the story is, how is he going to get away with it? Rather than Willie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
But I partly, I was drawn to this episode because it was like, oh, René, oh, Annie.
Oh, Annie.
And also the topic of the episode itself. It was sort of oddly, sadly serendipitous to the event.
Indeed.
But I don't know. I thought that was a good episode of Star Trek.
Yeah, I did too. Well, all right. Well, I think we've covered a short episode, shortish. Hope you enjoyed listening to our musings about it. And we shall see you back here in the Decon chamber. Nanu. And we will see you next time. Thank you, guys.
All right, y'all. Thank you.